Another embarrassment for Donald Trump is unfolding in the Middle East, as a powerful Iranian general lands in an American-aligned Arab country and begins shaping the political agenda on Washington's own turf. As the fragile truce with the United States nears its expiry, the leader of Iran's Revolutionary Guards arrives in a U.S.-allied nation, sparking questions over whether he is quietly rallying support for the next phase of the war. Esmail Qaani, the powerful head of the Quds Force, is now meeting with pro-Iran political parties, fueling speculation that Tehran intends to play kingmaker in deciding Iraq's political future. Trump risks being sidelined in what is supposed to be a close U.S. ally, as whispers grow that Iraq's next prime minister could be effectively chosen by Iran's inner circle, including figures like Mojtaba Khamenei. A top Iranian general has visited an American-allied Arab nation for a series of meetings with both political leaders and powerful militia commanders. According to Iraqi reports, Esmail Qaani, the head of Iran's IRGC Quds Force, began his latest visit on April 8, just as tensions around the ceasefire were intensifying. Qaani first sat down with militia leaders, the men who command fighters on the ground, and then held separate talks with leaders of the Shi'ite Coordination Framework. The SCF, or Shi'ite Coordination Framework, is a powerful coalition of pro-Iran Shi'ite parties that currently forms the largest bloc in Iraq's parliament. Reports say Qaani's main mission was to hammer out an agreement on who the coalition should nominate as Iraq's next prime minister. Initially, the coordination framework leaned toward bringing back Nouri al-Maliki as prime minister, a figure long seen as close to Iran. In response, Donald Trump reportedly threatened that the U.S. would cut off vital aid to Iraq if al-Maliki returned to the premiership. Iraqi media say the talks also focused heavily on the future of the militias that have become a permanent part of the country's security landscape. One idea on the table is to integrate these militias into official state security institutions, while keeping their political and armed wings formally separate. Another stated goal of Qaani's visit was to address regional de-escalation and its impact on Iraq, according to an account carried by AFP. An Iraqi source said Qaani was keen to ensure that security in Iraq does not deteriorate during these sensitive times for the wider region. News of Qaani's visit was confirmed just days before the ceasefire between the United States and Iran is due to end on April 22nd. Despite marathon talks lasting up to 21 hours at a stretch, Washington and Tehran had still failed to seal a full peace deal by April 20th. At the same time, more than 10,000 troops were reported to be heading toward the Middle East, a deployment widely seen as a signal of possible renewed military action. Iran, for its part, has been steadily rebuilding its military capacity, reportedly bringing its forces back to nearly 70% of their pre-war strength. Iran released a video on April 19 showing underground missile and drone launchers, signaling that its strategic weapons infrastructure remains active despite weeks of war. The IRGC-linked video portrayed ongoing overhaul and reconstruction work on Iran's missile and drone stockpiles, suggesting Tehran is trying to showcase recovery and resilience during the ceasefire. IRGC Aerospace Force Commander Saeed Majid Mousavi said the replenishment of arms had been accelerated, according to reporting cited by Iranian outlets. Mousavi said the pace of replenishing weapons increased during the ceasefire period, indicating that Iran used the pause to restore parts of its arsenal. His remarks were reported by WANA and Press TV just ahead of the expected expiry of the ceasefire window. Saeed Majid Mousavi said, and I quote, "Iran's speed in updating and reloading missile and drone launchers have surpassed even its pre-war pace. We are aware that the enemy is incapable of creating such conditions for themselves during the ceasefire. Since the ceasefire began on April 11th, the United States has had to bring in ammunition from the other side of the world in a trickle. They have lost this phase of the war as well. They have lost the Strait, they have lost Lebanon, and they have lost the entire region." Unquote. Mousavi's claims came after US media reports argued that Iran still retained the ability to sustain its missile capability despite the conflict. The Wall Street Journal, citing US intelligence assessments, reported that Iran still has thousands of ballistic missiles in reserve. Those missiles could reportedly be pulled out of hiding or retrieved from underground sites, reinforcing concerns that Iran's strike capacity was not eliminated. Pakistan had indicated it was ready to host a second round of peace talks between Iran and the United States on April 20th. However, Tehran said it was not yet ready to negotiate face-to-face with Washington, keeping the diplomatic track uncertain. Iran remained non-committal about holding the talks even as Trump sent a delegation to Pakistan in hopes of reviving negotiations before the ceasefire window narrowed further.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.